Thanks for being here right now. We had a bad first half. We had a bad first half. We did not do a good job taking care of the ball. They got 13 points off our turnovers in the first half. They had all the energy, and we just were sluggish. We were sluggish. And give UCLA credit. They came out and blitzed us. They dominated the first half. We came back fighting the second half, but it wasn't enough to get over the hump. And so that's what it is. And they made the plays when the plays needed to be made. Let's do questions.
Mark, last game you guys put a lot of energy, and you got this crowd, revving you up. How surprised are you, or how do you explain the energy level in the first half?
We were just a step slow. I'll go back and watch the film. I'll look at the reads that were being made. I'll look at the reactions and things like that and really drill into it. I don't have a good explanation right now because I thought yesterday's practice was phenomenal. We had a good shoot around this morning. And part of that, you can give credit to UCLA because they came out ready to go. Physicality, getting the 50-50 balls, and causing turnovers. That being said, we can do a much better job.
Did you feel like the problems were mostly on offense in the first half?
I thought the problems were mostly playing very tentative, and we had 8 turnovers in the first half alone. In the second half, we had 3 turnovers. And they had 0 points off our turnovers. But I felt like a big problem was a few problems: turnovers and a lack of ball movement. One thing we did see is we saw some early, quick, and bad shots. And we saw some bad shots, and that typically happens when guys don't think the ball is going to get back to them. And so the ball got a little bit too sticky tonight. In the second half, it was much better, but the ball got a little bit sticky.
Florida's only had 2 points and 2 rebounds at the half. Do you think that was a little bit of a carryover from the physical game against USC? You got hacked all second half of that game, and do you think there was any carryover on his part?
No, I think Fardas has had some great days of preparation. I think that what we said at halftime is, hey, the officials are allowing a physical game on both sides of the ball. And, I thought that Doss did a great job playing through contact, especially at the offensive end late game. He came up with some huge plays with contact. Again, we came up short. Proud of our guys in the second half. Proud of our guys the entire game. We did not execute well enough in the first half.
You mentioned the lack of turnovers in the second half. That was key getting back in the game. 8 turnovers and 13 points off of turnovers in the first half, which is probably the biggest difference in the game. You guys have really corralled the turnovers a lot in the second half of the season. Is that obviously going to be an ongoing emphasis on your part?
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing for us as a team that we were loose with the ball in those situations early. Part of it is we were loose, and part of it is, UCLA plays an aggressive, physical brand of defense, and that's been their calling card for years. And so a couple of them were self-inflicted, and a few more were probably caused by UCLA's defense.
When you have 2 halves that have to play out very differently, Jalen referenced that they were playing harder early in the game. How much of that is mentality and drive like that, and how much is what you were doing and kind of changing your game plan?
We have to find a way to have that same mentality and drive that we had in the first half, that we had in the second half. We have to find a way to start games with that. That's been a little bit of our Achilles heel this year. Is some games we've had great starts, some games we've had slow starts, and then we're dealing with a deficit that we have to overcome. And again, I've said before here that I need to do a better job of figuring that out. Looking at everything, nutrition, every aspect of practice, and just look at everything. And because we have had plenty of games where we've come out great from the start. That did not happen tonight, but we will get back to that.
You have a very short bench with 2 of your rotational guys out for extended periods. Is that part of it, guys needing to preserve energy?
Look, guys, there's a lot of opportunity on this team for starters and players off the bench. And so what I need to see as a head coach is I need to see when opportunities present themselves for starters and guys off the bench, I need to see guys come in, make plays, be totally locked into the game plan.
Mark, when you think of the opportunity today, you've had really good crowd today,
Yeah.
really good crowd against SC,
Yeah.
really good crowd against Stanford, maybe the 3 biggest rivals that Cal has.
Yeah.
When you think of how close you were to winning all three of those games,
Yeah.
maybe getting a bump even more from the community,
Yeah.
how difficult does that make this one?
It's difficult. It is difficult. But with that difficulty and with that disappointment, there's a huge opportunity because they killed us on the glass. In the second half, we had a good second half. They killed us on the glass. They got every loose ball. And so this becomes an opportunity for us to get much more tough, get much more physical, because the defense was getting stops. And then, we couldn't corral a rebound. It was a long rebound and a missed box out assignment. And so this is an opportunity for us to drill down and drill in and tighten up because we have a tough road trip next week going up to Washington State and Washington. And I can tell you we are going to be ready to go, and we're going to dial into these things that impacted the result today.
Mark, can you talk about the end of the series with UCLA, until something changes again? You guys, back way before you played, the teams have been playing each other for years, and now it's kind of going away.
Yeah, UCLA has a great basketball tradition. And the conference is split up. UCLA and USC are going their way. We wish them well. We're going our way, and we're building something very special here.
Mark, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.